You want that AS. Then you need to start thinking, breathing, living like an AF student. Because this isn't just about intelligence. This is about mentality. You can have all the talent in the world, but if your mindset is weak, your results will be weak. An A+ student doesn't wait to feel motivated. They show up anyway. They don't complain about the pressure. They rise under it. While others are sleeping, they're studying. While others are scrolling, they're grinding. While others are making excuses, they're making progress. See, the AS mentality is a different beast. It's focused. It's relentless. It doesn't care about distractions. It's about choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It's about pushing through when the brain says, stop, and the heart says, go. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide it. This is my time, and I'm not walking away with anything less than everything. This isn't just school. This is war. A war against laziness. A war against procrastination. And the only way you win is by thinking like an AF student, not tomorrow. Now, the difference between an average student and an AS student isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not some magical ability to memorize things faster than everyone else. The real difference is discipline. While everyone else is chasing motivation, the AF student is building systems. They're not waiting to feel good about studying. They study whether it feels good or not. They don't ask themselves, hey, do I feel like working today? Because the answer doesn't matter. They've already made the decision. The decision to show up. The decision to grind. The decision to do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel in the moment. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. One day, you're fired up and ready to conquer the world. The next, you feel tired, distracted, bored. If you build your life around motivation, you'll never be consistent. You'll study hard for one day, then fall off for 3. That's not the path to greatness. A+ students understand this, and that's why they build their foundation on discipline. They have routines. They create study schedules and stick to them. They know what time they're waking up, what time they're studying, and what they're covering each day. And they execute whether they're motivated or not. Discipline means doing the work, especially when you don't feel like it. It means picking up the book when your mind wants to scroll through social media. It means staying focused on the task when your friends are out enjoying themselves. It means pushing through mental fatigue because it's bigger than the discomfort. That's the mindset that separates top performers from the rest. It's not about loving the grind every second. It's about respecting the process enough to do it even when it's hard. You don't build discipline overnight. It starts with small choices. It starts with telling yourself, I'm going to study for 30 minutes and following through. Then you build up to an hour, 2 hours, more. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your mental muscle gets stronger. You prove to yourself that you're someone who follows through, that you're not at the mercy of feelings, that you control your actions, not the other way around. And once you get that kind of control over your habits, you become dangerous because now you're not just studying when it's easy. You're consistent. The truth is, the real challenge isn't the work itself. It's showing up consistently to do the work. Anyone can study when the deadline is tomorrow. Anyone can panic, revise the night before a test. But the AS student doesn't need panic to perform. They've built discipline so strong that consistency is their default mode. They're putting in effort every day, not just when the pressure is on. That's why they excel. Not because they're naturally better, but because they've trained themselves to be consistent, focused, and intentional, day in and day out. And here's the thing, discipline leads to confidence. When you know you put in the work, when you know you've studied the material, taken the notes, practiced the problems, you walk into that exam room with certainty. You don't panic, you don't second guess. You've earned your confidence through your discipline. That feeling, that peace of mind, that's worth every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice. It's the feeling of knowing you're prepared, not because of luck, but because of how hard you work. AOP students also understand that discipline isn't about perfection. They have off days, they make mistakes, but they don't one bad day become a bad week. They don't spiral, they reset and return. That's what makes discipline powerful. It's flexible but firm. It allows you to be human, but it doesn't let you quit. When others lose momentum, disciplined students find a way to keep going. Even at 60%, even on a bad day, they still show up. Because they know that showing up imperfectly is better than not showing up at all. Think about the students who always seem ahead. The ones who hand in assignments early, who seem calm during finals, who always have their notes in order. That's not magic. That's not some secret talent. That's structure. That's repetition. That's discipline in action. They didn't wake up one day with all those habits. They built them over time, with focus, with effort. And you can too. You just have to make the decision to stop relying on how you feel and start committing to what you want. It's not glamorous. No one celebrates the quiet hours spent reading when no one's watching. No one sees the alarm set for 5 a.m., the skip parties, the self-control it takes to study instead of binge watch. But the results speak for themselves. When the grades come in, when the acceptance letter arrives, when the opportunities open up, that's when the work pays off. And it's always worth it. If you want to build an AS life, not just AS grades, you need AS habits. And those habits are rooted in discipline. Show up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because every time you do, you separate yourself. You grow stronger. You get closer to the future you say you want. That's how success is built. Not on hype, not on emotion, but on repeated actions done with purpose over and over again. You have the power to be great, but that power is unlocked through discipline. So stop waiting for motivation. Start building consistency. Show up today, then show up tomorrow, then the next day. And keep showing up until showing up is who you are. That's what it means to have the A5 student mentality. That's how you win. Your greatness isn't given, it's earned. And the currency is sacrifice. Every dream you have, every goal you chase, every ATET you want on, that transcript comes with a price tag. And the truth is, most people aren't willing to pay it. They want the success, but they don't want the suffering. They want the results, but they don't want the responsibility. They want the spotlight, but not the silence that comes with sacrifice. But if you truly want to become the best, if you truly want that APEP student mentality, then you need to understand one thing: comfort is the enemy of growth. There is no elevation without separation. You have to separate yourself from the average to become excellent. That means sacrificing distractions. That means trading temporary pleasure for long-term purpose. It means missing out now so you don't miss out later. While others are sleeping, you're studying. While others are wasting hours on entertainment, you're focused. While others are partying, you're preparing. Not because you're being punished, but because you've chosen a higher standard. Sacrifice is a mindset. It's the willingness to let go of good things to pursue something greater. It's choosing to rise above the noise, to ignore the crowd, and to focus on your lane. It's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's fighting that urge to take the easy path and pushing yourself toward the one less traveled. The one that builds character, toughness, and resolve. It starts with your daily choices. When you wake up, do you hit snooze or do you rise with purpose? When it's time to study, do you commit fully or do you let yourself be distracted by your phone, your friends, your doubts? These tiny decisions may seem small, but they compound. Every sacrifice adds up. Every hour you study instead of scrolling puts you ahead. Every time you push through when you feel like quitting sharpens your edge. These are the sacrifices no one sees, but they're the exact reason some people soar while others stall. And understand this, sacrifice isn't about suffering forever. It's about investing in your future. You're not giving up fun for no reason. You're planting seeds for something far greater. The late nights, the early mornings, the mental fatigue, they're building something inside you. They're preparing you for challenges, for leadership, for success beyond the classroom. The habits you build now through sacrifice will echo throughout your entire life. Look around you. Look at the students at the top, the ones getting the A's, landing the scholarships, winning the awards. They're not luckier than you. They're not necessarily smarter, but they made a decision to give up the excuses, to give up the distractions, to give up their comfort zone. They made the hard choices you're afraid to make, and that's why they're ahead. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy. You'll have moments where your mind tells you to quit, where your body begs for rest, where everyone around you seems to be enjoying life while you're grinding. But in those moments, you have to remember why you started. You have to remind yourself that temporary pain is a small price to pay for permanent success. That sacrifice isn't weakness, it's strength. It's proof that you believe in something bigger than right now. There will be people who don't understand your sacrifice. They'll say you're taking it too seriously, that you're missing out, that you should relax. Let them talk. Let them live for the weekend. Let them live for the now. You're building for the future. You're chasing excellence. And excellence doesn't apologize for being uncommon. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your grind. Your results will speak loud enough when the time comes. And there's beauty in sacrifice because it teaches you discipline. It teaches you hunger. It teaches you patience. When you learn to give up what doesn't matter, you make room for what does. When you stop chasing every impulse, you start walking in purpose. Sacrifice refines you. It burns away the weak parts. It reveals who you really are and who you can become. Sometimes, sacrifice looks like turning off your phone and locking in for 3 hours of uninterrupted study. Sometimes it's skipping a night out because you have an exam. Sometimes it's saying no to a relationship, to an opportunity, to a comfort that doesn't align with your vision. But every time you say no to something that pulls you away from your purpose, you're saying yes to greatness. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for. and you can't outwork the grind without sacrifice, you have to be willing to lose sleep, to feel discomfort, to be misunderstood, to walk alone if necessary. That's the price of greatness. That's the price of the AS mentality. But what you get in return is priceless. One day, you'll look back and thank yourself. You'll thank yourself for studying when you didn't feel like it, for staying focused when distractions came calling, for sacrificing what was easy for what was right. Because on the other side of your sacrifice is a version of you that's stronger, smarter, and more capable than you ever imagined. So make the choice today. Choose purpose over pleasure. Choose progress over comfort. Choose to be uncommon. Choose to sacrifice. Because when the grades come in, when the doors open, when the future you've worked for finally arrives, you'll know that every moment of sacrifice was worth it. Every choice you made to rise was a step toward becoming unstoppable. And that's exactly who you're meant to be. Every day counts. That's the mindset of an AF student. Not just exam days, not just the week before finals, every single day. Because an AF student understands that time is not some endless resource they can throw around carelessly. They understand that every hour spent, every decision made, every moment either brings them closer to their goals or pushes them farther away. And that understanding changes how they live. While the average student sees today as just another ordinary day, the A+ student sees it as an opportunity to learn something, to grow, to improve, to outwork their past self. They don't wait for urgency to kick in. They create their own urgency. They don't say, I'll do it later. They say, I'm doing it now. Because they know that procrastination is the silent killer of potential. It doesn't destroy your dreams in one blow. It chips away at them quietly, day after day, while you tell yourself you still got time. But time doesn't pause. It doesn't slow down for your comfort. It doesn't give second chances. You either use it or you lose it. An AF student treats time like currency. Every hour is like money in their hands, and they spend it with intention. They invest their time. They don't waste it. While others binge watch shows, play games for hours, scroll through endless content, the AFA student is asking, what can I do today to get one step closer to my goal? They understand the compound effect that small actions repeated daily lead to massive results over time. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things consistently, day after day, even when no one's watching. That's where greatness is built, in the shadows, not in the spotlight, not in the final moments before the test, but in the quiet hours when no one is clapping, when there's no applause, no external pressure. That's when real success is born. And that's why the A+ student treats today like it matters. Because it does. Today is a building block. You don't wait until the roof to care about the foundation. You build it strong from the beginning, one brick at a time, every day. This mindset demands accountability. It means owning your time, not blaming your schedule, not blaming distractions, not blaming how tired you feel. It means recognizing that how you spend today is entirely up to you. That responsibility is power. You can waste it or you can master it. The AF student chooses mastery. They plan their days. They create to-do lists. They set priorities, and then they execute, not perfectly, but with intention, with focus, with urgency. And the beauty is that this mindset begins to change your identity. When you start treating every day like it matters, you start becoming someone who matters, someone who values growth, who values time, who respects their own potential. You don't just want success, you expect it. Because you know you're doing what others won't. You're putting in the reps. You're building discipline. And eventually, you build momentum. And once you got momentum, you become unstoppable. The average student thinks they have time. The ASF student knows better. They know that the test is coming, that the deadline is approaching, that life is moving. They don't panic about it. They prepare. They get ahead while others fall behind. Because when you stay ready, you never have to get ready. That's the gift of treating each day like it matters. You're always in position to win. Even on bad days, they show up. Even when they're tired, they do the work. Even when things go wrong, they stay focused. Because consistency beats perfection. One great day doesn't make you successful, but 100 disciplined days, that changes everything. And it all starts with how you treat the day in front of you. Not next week, today. If you waste today, you don't just a day. You don't just lose a day. You lose the momentum you could build. You lose the progress you could have made. You lose a chance to separate yourself from the crowd. Every time you delay, someone else is doubling down. Every time you skip the work, someone else is grinding through it. And one day, when you meet them in the real world, in the job interview, in the exam hall, in life, they'll be ready and you won't. Not because they're better, but because they respected their time more than you did. So, ask yourself, how are you spending your day? What habits are you building right now? Because your future isn't some far-off mystery. It's shaped by what you do with your minutes, your hours, your days. And if you start stacking productive days, one after another, you create a version of yourself that is focused, driven, confident, and unshakable. The AF student mentality isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up today, giving your best today, because you understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. If you treat today like it doesn't matter, what makes you think tomorrow will be different? Change doesn't start someday. Change starts now. Greatness doesn't begin in the future. It begins with what you do right now. So stop waiting. Stop delaying. Stop selling yourself short. Make today count. Not just because it's a step toward your goal, but because you count. Your time counts. Your dreams count. And if you live like today matters, you'll build a life that matters. One focused day at a time. One powerful choice at a time. That's how the AS Plus student mentality is born. That's how success becomes inevitable. AOP students don't just grind for the next test. They grind for the future. They don't wake up just to memorize facts or chase grades. They wake up with a long-term vision burned into their mind. Every choice they make is aligned with that vision. While others live for the weekend, they live for legacy. While others seek instant gratification, they chase purpose. Their focus is not on short-term pleasure, but on long-term elevation. And that mindset, the ability to think beyond the moment, to sacrifice now for what's coming later, is what sets them apart. A PUP student sees studying not as a chore, but as a step toward the bigger picture. Whether it's a dream career, a life of meaning, or simply becoming the best version of themselves, every hour they put in is connected to something deeper. That's why they don't need constant motivation. They've got direction. And direction creates energy. Direction fuels discipline. When you know where you're going, you stop wasting time on things that don't take you there. Most people live distracted because they know what they're working for. They jump from goal to goal, from trend to trend, never truly locking in on anything meaningful. But the AF student, they've got clarity, they've got purpose. They don't ask, what do I feel like doing today? They ask, oh, what does my future require of me today? And then they act on it. Because they're not building for a moment. They're building for a mission. This kind of thinking changes how you approach everything. You don't just study to pass. You study to master. You just show up. You don't just show up prepared, intentional, and sharp. You realize that every lesson, every assignment, every opportunity is part of a bigger puzzle, and you start connecting the dots. You start treating your effort like an investment. Every rep of focus, every moment of struggle, every late night grind, it all adds up to something worth fighting for. And this long-term vision isn't just about career success. It's about building character. A-Up students understand that how they do the small things will echo into how they do the big things. If they slack now, they'll slack later. If they cheat now, they'll cut corners later. But if they build excellence into their daily routine, they'll carry that into everything they do. Relationships, leadership, business life, excellence becomes who they are, not just what they do. That's why they guard their focus. That's why they protect their time. They know every distraction costs more than it seems. It's not just a few minutes lost. It's momentum. It's mental clarity. It's progress delayed. So they think twice before scrolling for an hour. They think twice before saying yes to every invite. Because their actions are intentional. They move with purpose, not pressure. They say no to the noise so they can say yes to their mission. Thinking long term also gives them resilience when things get tough, and they always do. The AS student doesn't quit. They zoom out. They remind themselves that this pain is temporary, but the reward is lasting. They know the struggle won't last forever, but the results will. That mindset allows them to push through when others break, because they're not just grinding for today's grade, they're grinding for tomorrow's greatness. They understand that nothing worthwhile comes easy, and they're okay with that. They don't complain about the process. They commit to it. They don't chase shortcuts. They chase mastery, and they're not looking for validation from others. Their validation comes from staying true to the vision they've set for themselves. The future they've imagined is worth the work. So they work. This level of thinking requires maturity. It requires awareness. It requires stepping back and asking yourself tough questions. What kind of life do I want to build? Who do I want to become? What am I willing to sacrifice to get there? Most people avoid these questions as tough students confront them. They use the answers to fuel their discipline, to ignite their purpose, to keep them grounded when life gets chaotic. And here's the truth. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to think long term. You don't have to have everything figured out, but you do have to start acting like your future matters. You have to start making decisions based on where you're going, not where you are. Because your habits today are writing the story of your tomorrow. And every small act of discipline, every focused study session, every intentional choice, it's all shaping the person you're becoming. You get one life, one shot to leave your mark. And that mark isn't made in a single moment. It's made through consistent action, anchored in long-term vision. ASO students know that. They don't chase hype, they build legacy. And the most powerful part, you can start today. You can decide right now to stop living in reaction and start living in tension. To stop asking, what do I feel like doing? And start asking, what does my future need from me? That's the real A+ student mentality. Not just high grades, but high standards. Not just test scores, but timeless discipline. Not just short-term hustle, but long-term vision. It's not about being perfect. It's about being purpose-driven. Every day, every choice, every moment. Because when you live like that, success isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So look ahead. See the version of yourself you want to become, and then do what it takes to meet them. Not someday, but now. Because your future self is waiting, and the only thing standing between who are you and who you can be is the action you take today. This is your moment next semester, not next week. Now, you don't need to be a genius to rise. You don't need perfect conditions or perfect grades to be unstoppable. What you need is a relentless mindset, a fire in your chest that says, I refuse to settle. A vision so clear, so magnetic, that it pulls you out of bed before the alarm and keeps you grinding long after everyone else has given up. That's the ASAP mentality. Not just a pursuit of academic excellence, but a declaration of personal greatness. Because the truth is, it's not about the paper, not about the praise. It's about the person you become in the process. Focused, disciplined, resilient. You become the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't run from hard work, who shows up day after day with a lion's heart and a scholar's mind. You don't just pass tests. You pass limitations. You don't just chase grades. You chase legacy. So let the world scroll. Let the average give up. Let the lazy complain. But not you. You're different now. You move with intention. You think long term. You choose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and vision over distraction. Because you're not here to blend in. You're here to stand out. Not just to get an A, but to become one. So rise up, get focused, and keep pushing. Every day you lock in, every second you show discipline, every sacrifice you make, you are writing the story of a future that will inspire generations. This is more than study motivation. This is your call to greatness. Answer it.